this lesson on the tune Winster Processional for the DG Melodeon. This is a very easy tune. I've actually made it a little bit harder than the real basic version. My version I got from a video of Morris Sides in Newfane, Vermont in the US. They are doing it in the key of D. I'm going to do it in the key of G. The tempo of this, well, it's in 2/2 time, which is cut common time. So you could play it at anything between 67 and 91 millims per minute. And the point of 2/2 is that you get the emphasis 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 like that. So that you've got 2 points of emphasis. So although it looks like 4/4, mathematically it's the same. You play it twice as fast. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you actually count it 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 like that. So it's twice as fast. I've set my metronome for 75, but in twos. So you'd have so that kind of speed is about halfway between the extremes. The version I mentioned that comes from Vermont, they do it really slowly at about 67 beats per minute, and I've seen it played as fast as 91. It is technically a march. Its other name is the Morris March. In case you're interested, Winster is a village in Derbyshire, in the north of the UK here, and well, I say north, it's not that far north, but you know, I'm right down in the south of England, so it's north to me. And it has a very long tradition of Morris dancing, dates back to, well, 1863 is the first recorded, but there's evidence of Morris dancing long before that. And they still have a side now. It's come and gone over the years, but it's in full flourish now. And as I say, this is the Winster Processional. Pretty easy tune if you're a beginner. It's a great one to learn. So let's get started. So we've mentioned the tempo, we've mentioned the time signature. It's G major, so all the Fs are sharpened. There are no notes on the D row, everything is on the G row. So very, very straightforward. And we're in one position all the way through, the position that I call Pos H, or position home. On a fourth button start instrument like this, the fourth button down on the G row, on the push, is G. So if I put my first finger there, and my second finger on the button below that, third finger underneath that, fourth finger underneath that, I span an octave G, and that's my position all the way through. So, you know, fantastic if you're a beginner, nice and straightforward, no changing rows, no changing position, and you've got one finger per button all the way through. So there's two parts, an A part and a B part. Some people write this out as 4 bars repeated. I've done it as 8 bars. Just so that I don't have to keep having a first and second time ending. And you just do A, B, you know, ad nauseum. We in Chelmsford Morris, that's the side I play for, we use the tip-top polka and the tip-top hornpipe as our processional, which is, I mean, they're great tunes, but they're pretty tricky. If you want a nice straightforward tune for a processional, then this is great. And if you don't know what a processional is, it's where the Morris side, or sides, as is more often the case, walk through the streets of the town or village where they're performing, and they kind of give the audience an example of what they do, and it's a nice and straightforward way of getting together, and it's quite a sight to see. So let's look at our right hand for our first bar, and it's a complete bar, not a pickup bar. So this is bar number 1, and this is what we play with the right hand. So it's push, 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 pull, pull. So we had G where the little finger falls. That's the octave on that G. So G, and then D, D, the button above, played twice. Same button pulled out will give you E, and keep pulling out and go back to the button you started on, and that will give you F sharp. So it's G, D, D, E, F sharp. Like that. And you would count that 1 and 2 and bearing in mind we're in 2/2, not 4/4. Like that. And the bass line for that, written above, of course, G bass, G chord, G bass, D chord. So that's the same buttons, buttons 4 and 3 on the outside row. I've said this many times in my videos, but I'm going to say it again. I use my little finger on button 4 and my third finger on button 3, and a lot of people don't do that. They use 2 and 3, sometimes just 1 and 2. I like to have one finger for each button. So it's G bass, G chord, G bass, D chord, and the bass notes, the single bass notes, are written as capital letters, and the chords are written as the little letters, the lowercase. So G bass, G chord, G bass, D chord, and the D chord, same button as the G chord but pulled out rather than pushed in. So that's the first bar. 1 and 2 and